Hey, welcome, welcome,
Yep.
welcome. This is HD. Sorry, we're about a minute late, but we're getting set up. I was getting set up. We got dialogue in the building here, folks.
Got your man Ed the Ed.
Hey, and you know what the title says. You know what this is. There's a 96.8% chance you bought the privilege lie. Okay, and you would think I'm talking to just Christians, but I'm really not. I'm talking to everyone else. There's a narrative going on in the culture that the kids who have privilege and all of this stuff, yeah, they didn't put in the work. They're not hard workers. They don't understand how the lower economic people, I guess, people who don't have as much money as them, they don't know how difficult it is. They don't understand certain standards, or so to speak. And I think that's the biggest lie. People tend to say stuff and just go along with it because it sounds good. um the first thing I'll say to that is, well, for one, you would understand your privilege if you were to go to a third world country. Your privilege goes right out the door, just like a um a super wealthy kid whose parents are extremely rich. Their privilege goes out the door. When you look at their situation, your privilege goes out the door when someone who is less privileged than you sees your situation. I don't know how people stand there and say, yeah, rich people kids suck because they don't understand privilege. I mean, let me unveil it for you. You have privilege yourself. What do you think about this topic when it comes up? I'm sure you've heard it in social media and all of that stuff.
Well, yeah. This is a topic that everybody is sensitive about because you know, although things are created a certain way, we don't use them, uh, or we don't act like it's created the right way. So basically, what I'm saying
Mm,
is, we take we're the ones that make up these ideas of not being equal as human beings and certain things like that. And when we do that, that's where you get the classism stuff because people think that
yeah.
when you have more money, you're better, you know, or less
Mm-hmm.
money, you're worth less, you know.
Yep.
But if we understand from a basic perspective that we're equal as human beings because we each were paid for on the cross, or that we each have a soul and spirit and a body, we're the same, you know, when it comes to being. We're human beings. And so if we just come from that understanding, you won't look at somebody and say, well, the outside says I'm better than them because they have this type of clothes or they don't have this type of clothes, whatever it is.
Mm,
um so we just take stuff and is ruined. It's taken out of the the right standing that is supposed to be held into. So just coming from that frame, when you look at the privilege thing, that stemmed from what I just said. Is like we don't look at each other as human beings. We look at each other as, you know, what do you have, what don't you have, and intellectually as well. That that happens there. Oh, I'm smarter than you, or you don't know as much as me, so I'm better than you. Like it happens all in all sectors, when it comes to what you have or don't have in possession or knowledge. So the privilege thing is from that standpoint because
mm,
they would say, because you came from this and you have this, well, you're better than me. So now it comes from the angle of, okay, I'm the person that think I'm less than. So self-esteem is like, well, I'm less than you or you're better than me. So because you are better than me, you have things, or like, or because you grew up in a better neighborhood than me, better, whatever than me, then
yeah.
then of course you're gonna have the resources and things like that. And because I haven't grown up in those things, and not to say that situations aren't reality or
Mm-hmm.
true to your reality that you're existing in, but it doesn't really make the person themselves better than you. They might have more resources, at the moment, but resources are here to multiply, and resources are here are enough for everyone to use. So that takes it back to, Genesis: be fruitful, multiply, subdue, and have dominion of the earth. Like, these things we are to use to multiply, because it's enough to multiply, and when you multiply it spreads. But when you have that situation of, well, I don't have it, so I can't get it, the privileges aspect of it becomes like, oh well, he has resources, I don't, and so therefore, you know I can't get it, or therefore, because he had it, you know he has everything that he needs, and he's a softy, or she's a softy, this, that, and the third, and that's where all these judgmental, factors come to. Oh, they never had to work, and some
Yeah.
cases might be true, but it's just a whole. So what I'm just saying is, like, it stems from one thing, and it's just, now it's all cluttered. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
so much that goes into this thing. Is like the conversation is muddy.
Yep. Yep. The conversation. So what do you think about the kids that have a bunch of money because their parents had a bunch of money?
Well, thanks to their parents, they're in a better position, and there's nothing wrong with that. People get mad at people that are in better positions, not knowing that their parents put in the work, and
Mm.
produced, and did some, and had some things in place to, reproduce and produce what they have now. So they have built the well that has now provided water. If you don't have the well, don't get mad that you don't have the well. Your parents, ask your parents, why don't we have the well? What did they do with the resources that they had currently, in their time before they had you guys to establish, so that things can be in place. Like, this is not, um you know like people want to look at the kids, or people get mad at the kids that get to enjoy the resources are that they have available to them, when, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, of course they didn't do it, their parents did. Why are you getting mad at the situation when they have established themselves? Like,
Yeah.
ask the question, like, why haven't my family established this? Like, what was holding my family? Like, like,
Exactly.
there are it's deeper than just, oh, they have it, so
They
whatever,
must be
whatever.
like, yeah, yeah. They make
Yeah.
a lot of assumptions about those kind of
Hmm.
people.
And I'm not cutting out the ones that do act like they're better than people because they have the resources. those
Yeah.
those are very real, and I don't like that. But but don't categorize everybody that have the resources as, oh, you never had to work, you never had the X, Y, and Z. Maybe at the level of what we may call the bottom, they
Hmm.
haven't had to do that because they're not in that situation to where they have to do that. But can they learn how to do that? I think a lot of people can learn how to do that, but nobody really wants to do that. you know
Yeah.
Even the people that
Yeah.
are in it don't want to be in that situation. That's why they're trying to gain and be in a better
Exactly.
situation.
Exactly. It's very interesting because it seems like people are bred to feel like working middle class and all of that stuff is like where you're supposed to be. And if someone has made a whole bunch of money, all of a sudden now they have to give a bunch of their money to, foundations and all of that stuff. That's their money. I don't think people would find it fair enough if someone came to them, they said, hey, yeah, you're like making $90,000 a year now. So now you have to start giving your a bunch of money to, the local people who need money. You don't need all that money. So this whole topic came up for me when I was on Reddit, and I came across this post, and I'll describe the picture to you if you can't see it very clearly. It has a kid up on a wall, and it has another kid holding a trombone up against the head of the kid who's on the wall, right? It looks crazy. Yeah, I get it. And the kid with the trombone is people born into wealth and privilege. And when you blow into a trombone, the noise that comes out at the end, it's it's what would you call it? It's multiplied, right? It's like a megaphone for noise, for sound. And the trombone, the noise that's coming out of it is essentially what the rich kid is saying. And what the rich kid is saying is, if you work hard, you can achieve anything. And the poor kid is up against the wall, and this sound is just blaring into their face. And it says, the children of poor people. If you take this at face value, you'd be like, yeah, rich kids, they always say just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And when we bring physics into it, no one can really pull themselves up by the bootstraps. What if they don't even have laces in their bootstraps? And it's fine. It just sounds like people are saying where I'm at is where I'm supposed to be. And a lot of the times, bro, we'll go over this verse as well. A lot of the times you'll find a lot of Christians who say, well, God put me in this position. God decides who gets rich and who doesn't get rich. Which a question would be, if God didn't want people to get rich and certain people to get rich, why wouldn't he want all his kids to get rich and then all the evil and bad people in the world to be poor? I think that's a valid question, right? What do you think?
Well, yeah, that's a question, but man, did we not like read the part where he said be fruitful and multiply? Like he
Hmm.
gave us resources to do that. He wants us that means he wants us to have the resources. That's why he gave it to us. But you know, and it's just so many jewels that we find in the word that tells us the Lord wants us to not be poor. Like
Hmm.
that's just factual, and that's just how he made things to be. He made us so that we can live, be fruitful, and multiply. And then
Yeah.
but people nowadays, they don't want to see that, they don't want to believe that, and they don't believe it, and they believe like, and then one of the things that we can dive deep if you want, but maybe
Hmm.
later, is that the whole thing of you got to work hard to get where you want. Working hard is not the key. Working strategically, because there's verses on that, how like working all day, you know. But anyway,
Yeah, we
there,
could get deep into that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's just so many things that people say like, oh, you got to work hard, you can achieve anything. It's not the best option, because
Mm,
there's a lot of smarter ways to work to where you're not working, exhausting yourself hard to get where you want to be. And then plus, you can exhaust yourself for years and years and get to that place, but you could have done it a different way, which is a smarter way to get to that place in a shorter period amount of time.
exactly.
Why won't you want to do it a smarter way where you can get it in a shorter period amount of time, but steady growth, and then
Yeah.
and then have it earlier? Why are you trying to say you got to work 50 years here to get to this place when
Hmm.
you exhausted yourself for the 50? If I had to choose, I'm not gonna get the 50 long-term years to
Exactly. Who
busting
knows
my
how long
butt.
you're gonna live?
Who? Yeah, that's crazy. So all I'm just saying is that the work hard and achieve everything is a stupid method, because breaking your back to get there is not gonna help you enjoy, and
Mm.
and, and it's not the best method. It's just not.
Yep. Yep. Um, Two comments I want to go over real quick because you're absolutely right. And you know what? People who don't want to feel like, oh, I'm rubbing my richness in your face, which you shouldn't be anyway. It's just money. It's not, it doesn't prove anything. It just proves you have certain characters and certain characteristics and habit built around doing a certain thing that helps bring in money. So for example, this dude said, I was born dirt poor. Now I'm not. If anyone tries to tell me luck had nothing to do with it and that my success is due solely to my own hard work and perseverance, I will laugh at them. Luck played a huge role. It wasn't the only thing. I didn't win the lottery. I still did actually hard work, but that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely no guarantee. There's a reason we say people are less fortunate or down on their luck. And then the next person said, same. Yeah, I busted my butt, but I got so much of some luck and went from potential eviction to now potentially looking at a home in the future. Okay, so again,
Mm.
if you take this stuff at face value, yeah, it sounds good, but it's so hopeless because they're saying you can work hard your whole life And if chance doesn't happen to you, then you're stuck and you're completely screwed. Like you're going to be poor your whole life. So these people are privileged enough for luck to find them, but you might not be so privileged for luck to find you.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
well, from a Christian perspective, there is no
Yeah,
luck
there's no
and
luck at all.
there's no luck. It doesn't
There's no
exist,
luck, and
right?
it tells us how to. It tells us how to, get to this place, of being not poor.
Yes.
There's wisdom, strategies, and principles that you can apply to not be poor.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a lot of Christians, they just don't follow biblical understanding of things, and their life ends up looking like, everyone else's life in the world, and they're like, well, this is just what God has for me. um if God can allow great evil to exist in the world for now, he can also allow you to not follow his word that he's given to you freely to follow and be wealthy. So you have something to say to that real quick before we move on to
Yeah,
the next thing?
there's definitely and I'm gonna keep it quick. There's definitely a difference between hard work and working hard. I would rather do hard work than work
Mm,
hard, because hard work, what I believe hard work to mean is that the work that you're doing is not necessarily an easy task.
mm,
It's probably hard in the beginning because you're learning, you're first starting off, versus working hard means you're straining, you're like working hard is you like when you work out and you're working out hard, like you're straining, like it's a
yeah.
lot of energy being spent into that, and intensity. Well, working
Hmm.
hard or hard work is something, is a task that's difficult, but you're figuring out a strategy, and you're figuring out, and you learn the principles and how to make that hard work become easy work, because
Mm,
you're now getting into mastery. Now
mm,
this is where mastery comes in. Now it mastery, when you get to that point, you're not at a level where it's hard anymore. It becomes effortless, or getting to the point where it's effortless, because you have now gotten to that place to where it is not hard. So
mm,
working hard, you're going to be working hard until you're working hard. You know,
hmm. Yeah.
that's a long distance joint. Hard work is okay. Let's bust through the wall in the beginning, then let's figure out how to put the crumbles in line. You
You know
know,
what's crazy? You know what's crazy? In the corporate world, which we're both in right now, a lot of people have hobbies outside of work. Yeah, I love playing video games. Yes, I love going fishing. Yeah, I love going to the arcade. Yeah, I love going to the restaurant. Yeah, I love going to explore town, going downtown. Yeah, I love going drinking with, like, they have a lot of hobbies that I think what you just said applies to specifically. They've worked hard at these things. So for example, video games,
mm.
people put hard work into learning video games, and then at the end of the video games their thumb moves across the buttons like
Yeah,
it's second nature.
it's like, yeah, you know what that move is by, like,
Exactly.
because you did it so many times, it's effortless. You
Exactly.
don't have to
Exactly.
think, you don't have to use mental capacities to you know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
just boom, 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 boom. Like you can feel it becomes, like you said, second nature almost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. So now imagine if one person out of 100 says, you know what, for like 10, 15 years, I'm just going to drop my hobbies and put all of this extra time and hard work that I'm putting toward these hobbies and just put it towards something that I feel like everyone needs and it'll benefit my family as well. And then in like 5 years, they become rich, 10 years, super rich, 15 years, billionaire, for example. This is just hypothetical. And now people are looking at them like, bro, you don't deserve all that money. Like, look at us. We're still struggling. Like, give us some of that money.
Doing it the wrong way.
Doing it the wrong way. So
Hmm.
certain people have figured out that if I put hard work in this thing over here, it'll benefit me. So I have this video. It's a 3 minute cut of the video, and it's this girl. It's a very interesting channel. She's a nepo baby, and a nepo baby is essentially the child of super rich parents, and she's gotten a
What?
lot of privileges from it. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
that's
never heard that before. Nepo baby.
same. It popped up on
Yikes.
my feed, and I was like, "What is this?" Because I was doing research for this topic, and it came out. I was like, "Okay, let me give it a watch." I give it a watch, and it's a weird channel, but she says she's wealthy, and she gives stories and all of these things. So Let's take a look at this this YouTube video real quick. Let me share this screen. And you guys, we're gonna go over script. This is gonna be a speed run after this video is done. Like, we're gonna go over 4 different scriptures that addresses this thing specifically. And the last scripture that I'm gonna go to, I think, is gonna hit a lot of Christians wrong, and it's gonna push a lot of people out of their comfort zone and how they understand the Bible. So let's go ahead and watch this.
Oh yeah. Okay, there we go.
What happened?
Dang, first of all, what is she wearing?
Man, look, man.
What is she wearing? Feathers?
She's wearing feathers, bro. She's wearing feathers.
That's just crazy already.
Font
I'm not
in
gonna
New
lie.
York, because
Yeah. Go ahead.
This looks elegant. She look expensive.
That's what I'm saying.
What
the production
is crazy.
Production factor, nah, good. Finito, done.
I feel like I'm being charged to watch this.
You are.
Dang.
Go ahead and Venmo me, bro. All right.
Where else do you fall in love in the 90s? His name was Jeff. Her name
Jeff
was
My name is
Mackenzie. Jeff
My name, Jeff.
actually interviewed her and offered a job, but she picked a different department. Luckily, though, her assigned office was right next door to Jeff's.
My office was next door to his, and all day long I listened to the fabulous laugh. How could you not fall in love with that laugh?
She has just graduated from Princeton, where she majored in English and dreamed of being a novelist, a writer with an eye for stories, and the kind of woman who could spot a structural flaw in narrative and a business plan. She didn't just understand plot, she understood publishing. So a few years later, when Jeff came to her with an idea to sell books online,
and I picked books as the first best product to sell online.
The concept that sounded insane at the time, Mackenzie didn't flinch. She knew the industry, knew the margins. She wasn't just the supportive wife, she was the co-pilot and Amazon's first employee. Jeff was writing business plans, Mackenzie was reviewing them.
Amazon.com, very good website. You should really try it.
And she stayed. The risk it all for his dream face. Moreover, she secured Amazon's first logistics partnership. 25 years later,
think about a child you love. Now take away their clean clothes, access to water, and
I didn't know we were talking about this, Jeff.
Yes, right? It's good. It's a good narrative. She's good at storytelling.
Jeff is the richest man in the world. So in 2019, the press explodes with the headline hotter than any Prime Day deal. Jeff Bezos is getting divorced.
This is going to be one of the biggest ticket divorces ever.
And not just divorced while sex to his new girlfriends were leaked on Twitter.
He has denied sending, quote, many penis pics.
A true American scandal. Investors started feeling like they don't really know Jeff that well. Is he really the type of guy who's willing to risk it all? That was not a great look for his business. Now here's the twist. The richest man in the world had no prenup. There was no public fights, no screaming matches, just quiet negotiations and very expensive lawyers. Mackenzie knew her worth. Jeff knew that she knew his secrets. So they did what most rich couples aim to do but often fail. They settled gracefully and discreetly over billions, making her the third richest woman on earth overnight. And what did she do next? She donated more money in 1 year than Jeff had in decades. She started to give it away. No press tours, no Mackenzie pledge, just billions in casual generosity. While Jeff went to space, as one
Mackenzie,
does. Imagine telling your
I
girlfriends
need to talk
that
to
your
you.
ex went so nuts he had to go to space post-breakup.
All right. So there's that video. So the narrative of this story is about a super rich guy who initially, in the beginning stages of his development, gets married to this woman. They build an empire, and she essentially ejects herself from the empire and just takes billions of dollars with her. Okay. Now, when you talk to a lot of Christians about wealth, funny enough, this is the exact picture that they point to. What do they say? They generally say, well, I don't, temptation comes with money. And when I'm chasing money, I don't want to end up sinning and drawing far from God and sinning and falling into temptation. It's just a bunch of stuff that they wouldn't say when you ask them, hey, how do you want to invest in you and your spouse's relationship? Do you want the best relationship? Do you want the most intimate relationship with your spouse? Yeah, I do. So what happens when, like, you have a really good relationship with your spouse? You know what your relationship reflects, and another attractive woman walks into the picture. Are you going to be tempted? Are you going to be tempted to sin? No, you're not. Why? Because you understand the relationship you're building is reflecting something way, way, way bigger than what you guys are actually building. So, we only have a few minutes. Do you have something to say before we start jumping into these verses?
Let me try to see if I can make it condense.
Yeah.
Yeah, chasing money shouldn't be the goal. It should be chasing the purpose and let the money be able to not only fund it, but also take care of any. Well, let me say it like this. What we're doing for people, that should be the goal. Spread the love through service and be good representatives of the kingdom through whatever we're doing. That should be the real focus. The money's going to come when you are doing that to the best of your ability, and when you have things in order, like
That's a key
business wise
thing.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the mindset of chasing the money and not really effectively doing what you're supposed to be doing, the assignment that God has given you, which is the purpose that you have in this life, because everybody has their place on what they're supposed to do in the body. So, but if you're not focused on doing what you're supposed to do in the body, which is the purpose that God has given you individually, because we know generally as a whole body we're supposed to make disciples all over the world. Okay, boom, that's definitely the main frame. But now how we navigate through that is your personal, the personal look of what you have as the individual person. So if you're not focused on that and you focus on the money, you're gonna lose sight of why you even, of what to even do with the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this all gonna be for nothing? Is this all gonna be to collect dust? But if but if you're using it, rightly within what you're doing here on earth, it's not gonna be a waste, because then the focus is not on just stacking money. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah. So you
Hopefully I
mentioned
said
something.
that clear. Hopefully I said that clear enough. I don't know, but
Yeah, I think you did, because you're saying it's not really about the money. It's rather what the money serves, the purpose that the money serves. And when you were saying stuff, you mentioned order. When you guys look at the thumbnail isn't, it's not clickbait. It's actually the picture of Jeff Bezos and his wife and his kids. Well, his ex-wife. This was in 2016 when that photo was taken. And I X'd out his wife, because a lot of people will look at his kids and say you come from privilege, but there's no privilege when the parents aren't together, right? There's no actual, they've actually lost a lot of privilege that you, who has two parents, potentially has. I'm not saying everyone with two parents, it's a great household, but the potential to be in a better position, place in terms of character and values and all of that stuff, you have more potential to be in a better place. Well, these kids with a whole bunch of money as an inheritance, they've lost the privilege of the foundation of the marriage, which serves kids in the long term, because kids really look at the marriage of the parents and they project that on their marriages and their relationships.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. If the wife is gone, the privilege is gone. Let's jump into this first verse, Proverbs 19:14. And when you talk to a lot of Christians, and of course, non-Christians don't even understand the idea of this. They would they wouldn't even understand what the heck you're trying to say to them. But Christians in the Old Testament, there's a lot of stuff prescribed to what the picture should look like. And if God doesn't change, he hasn't changed from the beginning of time, and he hasn't changed even when the earth ends its time or whatever have you. This is the exact same God that created the earth and everything, that rescued Israel from Egypt, parted the Red Sea. He's literally the same God that you're in his presence right now. Same being, same exact being. So nothing has changed. When Proverbs 19:14, it says, house and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord. I actually wanted to do this verse because we dive into the second part, which is a prudent wife. So this is two parts: father, house, and riches, and prudent wife from the Lord. Well, we'll get to the prudent wife part next then. So this is a clear picture of what the father's inheritance to the children are supposed to be. And a lot of people bring in the spiritual aspect. It's like, fine, but this isn't what this is telling the fathers to do. This is telling us to prepare ourselves to give something to our kids. All right, let's move to the next one. So we got Proverbs. Let's see. All right, let's go. Yeah, I was supposed to do this Proverbs first.
Oh,
but it's all good. So let me share this tab instead. All right. So Proverbs 13:22, it says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So this first part here is saying a good man leaves inheritance to his children's children. And this is the part where a lot of people say, well, the inheritance is spiritual. That is why it was supposed to be second, because then this Proverbs verse was supposed to come in and say, actually, the inheritance is supposed to be house and riches, not anything spiritual.
Yeah,
right?
man, they love saying he's spiritually rich. Yeah, we are spiritually. We are lavishly rich in spiritually right now, you know. But what happened? But the Lord didn't just do it just for the spiritual. You know, we're supposed, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Come on now, let's get.
Yep.
Stop playing. Stop playing.
People love playing, man.
Stop
People
playing,
love playing with this
man.
stuff. Like,
bro,
it's, you know what's crazy? It's as serious as when God was telling Israel in Egypt that, hey, you guys need to get ready to go. Make sure you make some bread on leaven, so you know you're able to pick it up quick and go. You know, when you're spoiling Egypt, basically when you're taking all of that gold from their treasuries, let's do it quick. Like, be quick about it in the middle of the night. Do all of this stuff. Imagine if one Israelite was like, yeah, all right, bro, like whatever, man. Like, we haven't seen God in 400 years. What are you talking about, bro? That dude would have been left in the dust, and they would have worked that dude even more. But let's move on. So I shared this one. We talked about what the inheritance is. Now we're looking at the wife part, right? Because it says, and a prudent wife is from the Lord. Well, the reason why the wife matters more, now we're looking at 1 Samuel 25:32 and 33. So I'll read it real quick. It said, and David said to Abigail, blessed be the Lord God of Israel, which sent thee this day to meet me. And blessed be thy advice, and blessed be thou, which has kept me this day from coming to shed blood and from avenging myself from mine own hands. Now, mind you, Abigail is already someone else's wife. But the dude is an idiot. He's a fool. It describes him as such. David comes to him and asks for help, and he says, get out of here, essentially. I'm not going to help you. But the dude had wealth. He had a lot of wealth. He had a whole bunch of stuff in his possession, a whole bunch of flock. Well,
Waka Flocka.
Yeah. So David leaves, and then David comes back a second time to essentially off the guy, to kill him. And Abigail intercepts the guy, makes a whole bunch of food, a whole bunch, like one, for example, one of them was 200 loaves of bread, 200 loaves of bread. And because she's wise, she's like, well, my husband won't understand. In my wisdom, let me go meet him. So the guy actually lives for now. But the guy lives and his wife lives and his whole household is saved because the wife was wise enough. Well, when non-believers think about rich people, they see a lot of this nonsense going on of divorce. They take this much. They see a lot of scandals, infidelity. They see a lot of nonsense going on in the lives of rich people. So they reflect that on the children, right? Your dad is a billionaire, but he's sleeping around with a bunch of young women. How does that reflect? But the Bible actually advises that a prudent wife is from the Lord. So Christians are advised to put all of their life and energy into making sure that they pick a prudent wife. It's no guarantee. It's not 100%. You're a Christian, you pick a prudent wife, but there's certain values that you can see in a person if you seek advice from the church and family that helps protect you from stuff that people are seeing in the media. You got anything for us?
Nope.
All right. So let's move to the last verse, which Christians also love using as a defense to why gaining wealth and working in ways that put you in a position to gain a lot of wealth is just a waste of time. And that's not really the kingdom of God. Yeah. So Philippians, we have the apostle talking to the churches, okay, telling them and celebrating them for helping him. But the church was poor. And he was celebrating them for what they had done for him. And then he says something a little bit extra. This is what he said. He said, verse 10, but I rejoice in the Lord greatly that now at the last your care of me hath flourished again, meaning they were able to help him in a way that he found he was grateful for. I'm sure he was grateful for any amount of help, but flourishing help. Keep that in mind. Wherein ye were also careful, but ye lacked opportunity. Essentially, he's saying they were poor, right? Not that I speak in respect of want. So he's not saying that I want a bunch of stuff. He's saying, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Now, this next verse, a lot of people, I don't know, accidentally leave out. He says, I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. So he's essentially saying, no matter your situation, you should be content with that situation. But I did not hear him saying that if you are poor, it's okay to stay poor. He didn't say it's okay to stay poor. He said, if you are poor, be grateful for what you have. But he didn't take away your will to desire more for yourself and your family. He just said, it's okay. If you're poor, it's all right. Be content. Give thanks to God. At the same time, he said, I have been with a lot of wealth. And even then, I was still content. So how can you be content when you're poor and content when you're wealthy? Both the same person. What do you got for us?
Yeah, pretty much on that last part where he says, basically when he says, well, I've been poor and I've been rich. I think it's very clear that, hey, no matter what position you're in, know how to navigate, know how to, practically know how to ration, know how to survive in whatever state you're in. Like he had both experiences and he knew how to navigate. Like, yeah, if I have a lot, okay, I know how to manage that. If I have a little, I also know how to manage that. So I think also the contentment there is like, learn how to use the resources you have at the time when you have those type of resources or that or whatever amount of resources. Like learn how to navigate in that, because just like how the Holy Spirit gives us what we need, in the moments of speaking to someone that we don't, or in the moments. Remember the verse talk about the courts or whatever, how like don't try to plan what you are going to say, because the Holy Spirit is going to give you the word in the moment. Yeah, it's like in these situations also the Lord is going to give us what we need, but also you have to understand like how to navigate in these positions as well. Like, and that's what I think he says, that, well, if I'm poor or not, I know how to handle myself.
Yeah. And the part that I think a lot of Christians miss also is the content part is reflecting gratefulness. So no matter what situation you're in, understand, as Idiot said, work with what you got, but never forget to be grateful, because that gratefulness shows that in no matter the situation you're in, God is still God, right? You are content in God, but it doesn't mean you need to stay in your situation. And it doesn't mean that God is making you stay in your situation.
He's not saying, "Oh, be happy where you are and stay there." That's not what he's saying.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah. So in all of this, the message that I hope that you got, especially being a Christian, but if not a Christian, I hope that you were able to extract the value, which specifically says that the kids that have much because of their children, yes, they're privileged, but it is actually good to be privileged. Imagine all the people who aren't privileged, shackled by the debt of school loans, private loans, car loans, house mortgages, all of these things. These are literal shackles that hold people to the ground and makes it difficult for them to progress in life. But yet we put down the people that the parents have worked hard and diligently enough to make them not be in that position. The values that they hold, that's not up to you. We have poor people acting more crazy than some of these rich folk out here, but we're not talking about them because that's putting down poor people. Let's be upfront. Let's be real. Let's have our eyes open. Let's be smart and wise. All right. So with that, Eddie, do you have any last words?
Nope.
All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us on this stream. I hope you got something from this, and we'll see you guys later.
All right. Peace.